right. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us here today. We really, really appreciate you joining, being here with us. We've got a super exciting webinar for all of you guys today. We've got Innovate and Excel, the future of work with Copilot PCs. Just some quick Teams reminders. This is being recorded, so please keep that in mind. If you have a question, please use the chat or put it in the Q&A section. Most importantly, have some fun. We're here to answer your questions, get everything answered. We're leaving plenty of time at the end, so get those questions ready, keep them in mind. And we would also love if you could please fill out the post-event survey. It helps drive the direction of DTUC and everything that you guys want to hear. It helps us bring this sort of content. You have been clamoring for Copilot, so that's what we're bringing you today. And just a quick reminder, we've got a packed September and early October. We're already starting to promote those. So we've got a Verizon webinar coming up next week. We've got Support Assist also next week. And then in October, our first one is going to be Safe Supply. So please, please, please attend those if you got questions. We put these on for you guys. This is all for your benefit. But without further ado, I know you're all tired of hearing from me. You hear from me enough on these basis and on these webinar calls. So I would love to introduce Callie Brooks, Microsoft Field Marketing Manager, and Nate Cates, Microsoft Technology Specialist supporting Dell Technologies. So without further ado, y'all are up.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jack. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. So as Jack mentioned today, we are going to discuss really Copilot plus PCs, what they are, what our target customers really are, and then we're going to deep dive into security as well. So Jack, next slide for me. All right, team. So we know when the world went hybrid, right? Enterprises really needed a change for security, right? So with that hybrid workforce, there's really no longer the safety net of on-prem enterprise level security because devices are in and out. Employees are also moving between different locations. So AI has really opened up new opportunities and challenges. Now, as one of the largest PC and infrastructure solution providers, Dell is actually in a unique position to help secure our customer environments. That's really because we, as Dell, know IT, right? And we really do know security. So our endpoint security portfolio, Dell Trusted Workspace, offers both the hardware and the software security our customers like you need to combat modern cyber attacks. Now, our first priority is to get our customers out ahead of the attackers. Then, in zero trust fashion, we always plan for the worst case scenario. Unfortunately, it is a breach. So instead of focusing on blocking every single attack, Dell commercial PCs offer unique visibility and tamper detection down to the deepest levels of device. These built-in features are truly what make Dell the world's most secure commercial PCs. And that's validated, of course, by third-party research. We also know that no one solution can do it alone. Security truly is a team sport, and we believe customers should have optionality to meet the unique needs of their organization. To that end, in addition to the foundational built-in security of Dell commercial PCs, and what we qualify as those are our Latitude devices, our OptiPlex, and our Precision workstations. We also offer leading partner solutions to further bolster customer security. So later today, my teammate Nate is going to walk you through the features Microsoft offers to further secure your workspace and improve security across your fleet. Jack, next slide. Now, we're going to discuss the differences between a CPU, a GPU, and an NPU. I'm sure most of you know what a CPU is and even what a GPU is, right? Well, let's deep dive into the NPU and why it's special. Now, the NPU is a specialized processor, right, that is designed to accelerate machine learning and AI tasks, all while being less dependent on the cloud. So the key here is no internet Say that 10 times fast. No internet connection required. That is huge, especially for our customers and our employees that are on the go, visiting customers and such. Now, let's really deep dive into TOPS, right? TOPS is a measure of the total maximum achievable throughput for an NPU. So it basically measures the performance of the NPU, right? So think of TOPS as that mathematical equation on how the NPU actually performs, okay? Now, NPUs are very specific to Copilot Plus PCs in the fact that every single Copilot Plus PC that we discussed today, it will be our Latitude series. It will also be our XPS series. And we even have an Inspiron, which we don't technically classify as a commercial PC, but we do know that some of you on the phone may have a need for an Inspiron device. So we do definitely want to touch on those. But just keep in mind that NPU and TOPS, right, it really qualifies the number of basic math problems that chip can solve within that short period of time, okay? Next slide, Jack. All right, so you all got a snapshot of the Copilot PC and all the amazing features that they do have. Well, right now we are going to discuss a little bit more about the Dell Latitude Copilot Plus PCs. Now, they truly are a game changer. And the reason why is because the Latitude 7455 was our first Copilot Plus PC that was launched. It did launch on June the 18th of 2024. And since then, we've had 3 other systems that have launched, which we'll deep dive into here in just a little bit. Now, these devices are powered by Snapdragon NPUs, which means they are powerful and can handle those tough AI workloads. And they're hardware-backed AI and security innovations that truly enable new efficiencies and help safeguard your mission-critical data. Now, this new category of devices come with AI built in and optimized by that NPU that we discussed. They are also considered secured core PCs that Nate will discuss a little bit later on today. And they do come with the Microsoft Pluton security processor for the highest level of Windows security, which in my mind is huge. Now, these PCs can help you or your customers or your employees find important info faster, get projects done quicker, and help keep your data safe. Also, you can innovate, solve problems, and of course, make a bigger impact in your overall business. So Jack, next slide. Now, I'm sure you're all wondering, what customers, which employees are truly going to benefit from a Copilot Plus PC? Well, the good news is our early adopters and really our target customers are going to be ITDMs, so information technology decision makers, SMB founders and owners, and sales and marketing professionals. Now, I'm sure we have at least each one of these categories covered on this call. So I'm going to touch a little bit on why these target customers are kind of prime for Copilot Plus PCs. Now, ITDMs that are under pressure to ensure an ambitious AI strategy is delivered, right, while still remaining cautious of technology challenges and security risks. And it's also for ITDMs who are investing in AI as a primary growth driver and empowering top talent to leverage technology for enhanced business outcomes. I'm sure all of us on this call wish we had more time to invest in strategic pursuits and really overall business outcomes. And these Copilot Plus PCs definitely do that. Now, SMB founders and owners, right? We recognize that these individuals wear multiple hats within the organization. So basically, our Copilot Plus PCs are affordable AI solutions that can help those SMB founders and owners transform productivity and customer service across their business. Now, let's not forget to mention our sales and marketing professionals. Like myself, right? So transforming AI-powered technologies into essential tools to really help drive nimble, innovative, and data-driven sales and marketing teams. And I can vouch that I utilize Copilot every single day, multiple times a day, and it truly does help me do more. Jack, next slide. Perfect. Thank you, Jack. All right. So I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, what's the difference between just a Windows 11 Pro PC and a Copilot Plus PC? Well, there definitely are some differences between the two. Now, Windows Innovation does include Windows 11 Pro devices that you might already own, and I'm sure a lot of you do. And of course, a new category of devices, which we have been discussing, which is Copilot Plus PCs. Okay. Now, it's important to understand that all new Windows devices offer incredible value with a core set of features and capabilities. Now, those include Copilot on Windows, which is free. It does help with intelligent suggestions, snap layouts, and it does have an extra layer of built-in security that's directly out of the box and compatibility with your existing apps and your hardware. And that's really through Microsoft Aperture, if you are familiar. And of course, they're all easy to use, deploy, and manage. So Windows 11 Pro devices truly accelerate business success. And if you take a look at a few of the features included, you'll see why. They're significantly faster than Windows 10 devices. And if you're not aware, Windows 10 is actually going end of life on October 14th of 2025. So we're almost a year out from that migration. Now, if you're ready for a big leap forward, Copilot Plus PCs truly do usher in a new era of computing. These devices include a built-in NPU, which we have discussed. It is the neural processing unit, which is designed to accelerate AI and data processing. And by offloading, take key AI processes to the NPU, the CPU and the GPU can also run faster and more efficiently. Now, let me deep dive into a couple of additional benefits with this new category of device. In addition to Copilot and intelligent suggestions, you also get Recall. Powered solely by the NPU, Recall can search across your timeline history, your applications, your documents, your conversations, pretty much anything you do on a day-to-day basis to deliver relevant results and suggest next steps you can take. Now, Nate will actually show you all a video of Recall and discuss some of the capabilities that Recall actually does allow. Now, Secure Core PC protection, which we have also talked about, and Microsoft Pluton provide the highest level of security for any Windows 11 PCs. Now, Nate will also jump in and discuss a little bit more about that as well. As we know, security is top of mind, especially as AI accelerates. It's even more important. Now, Windows Studio Effects, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, it's also powered by that NPU, giving you more refined video conferencing, like we're doing today, experience without dragging down your overall battery. In addition to live captions, which you all did see in the video right before, those basically give you the ability to translate up to 40 plus languages in English and in real time. Now, this is just the beginning. If you get a Copilot Plus PC now, you'll actually be ready for the next wave of innovation. Jack, next slide for me. All right, so we did touch a little bit on which devices do technically qualify as Copilot Plus PC devices. The Latitude 7455, that was our first Copilot Plus PC that was launched with the Snapdragon X series. And that technically, again, was our first Copilot Plus PC. The XPS 9345 and the Inspiron 7441 were our two additional Copilot Plus PCs that were launched shortly after June the 18th. Now, our next Latitude that's going to be a Copilot Plus PC is going to be our Latitude 5455. That is actually set to launch next week. So we're very excited to have our mid-grade and high-level Latitude systems available in a Copilot Plus PC, okay? Now, what's truly important with the Copilot Plus PC is Copilot does become local. And what I mean by that is currently Windows 11 Pro devices today in the market, not our Copilot Plus PCs, those are running Copilot through the cloud. Now, Copilot Plus PCs that are running local Copilot capabilities do not have to have an internet connection. So again, that is huge for those on-the-go professionals. Now, let's touch a little bit on our PC requirements. Now, our Copilot Plus PCs do have to have several hardware requirements to be qualified as such. That is a 40 plus TOPS NPU, which we've discussed. Most PCs today, Windows 11 PCs that is, they perform anywhere from a 10 to 12 TOPS for the NPU, whereas Copilot Plus PCs function at a 40 plus TOPS. They also have to have 256 gig SSD and 16 gigs of memory. And they do also come with Windows 11 24H2, which is the latest version of Windows 11. Now, our PCs that we have in the market today, they are Qualcomm-based devices. Now, Intel Lunar Lake and AMD Strix PCs will also be qualified as Copilot Plus PCs. Those systems, though, will be launching late 2024 and early 2025. So once we have more specific dates on exactly when those devices will be released, we'll ensure the broader team here knows. Now, if you're not familiar with the Copilot key, that's actually a new addition. Now, it's not necessarily specific just to Copilot Plus PCs, but it is specific to really all Windows 11 devices. But I think that's critical because that makes accessing Copilot that much easier. And it's actually taking over the second Windows key that's kind of directly under your enter key or shift button. So it's great, makes accessing Copilot that much easier. Now, keep in mind that once again, these systems do not require an internet connection, and they do also have enhanced AI features that Nate will actually go into more detail on here in just a moment. So with that, Nate, I think this is the perfect time to switch it over to you to run through security and some additional features.
Awesome. Thank you, Callie. All right. So what does all of this hardware get us? We have all these new components and the way that things run within your chip on the motherboard. And now we actually get to talk about the features themselves. First and foremost, we did talk about 40 plus tops, which is one of the key features to having all of this is you have to have your NPU that runs at a specific operations per second. It's going to give us a longer battery life. These have been tested and shown to give longer battery life and gives you energy efficient performance. So with that said, we're going to talk about these more in depth later, but we have recall. And yes, we know that's the elephant in the room. This was actually recalled, if you will, just because they wanted to make sure that it was more secure and that everything was worked out before it was actually released to our customers. I love that they figured this out now, and so they can put that into place, make sure it is secure, and having everybody run at the same time rather than finding this out 6 months to a year later. Windows Studio Effects. This is going to allow you to do specific things on at all times. You don't just have to use your filters for your LinkedIn profile anymore. You can actually use it on live calls. And we'll get into more what that does here in a few. And then live captioning, which is an awesome feature that gives you real-time live captioning and translations for several languages. On the security side, because this is where everybody has the questions, we have a lot of customers ask about it. First and foremost, we have the Microsoft Pluton security processor, and we'll get into more of this here shortly as well. But in essence, Pluton is just a hardware-based security chip that's embedded to the CPU itself. Think of this as chip to cloud strategy, and some people are even calling this the next level TPM. It is proven technology. It is not something that someone just came out of thin air and decided to throw it in a system. It's been used for a while. Those of you who use the Xbox, this is where it has been used and tested and things like that. And what we are actually able to do is collaborate with all of the major processor companies. And I know there was a question of, is this only going to be on ARM? No, it's going to be on x86 as well. It's just that it is a measured and timed rollout between all of the different companies. So something really awesome with that. Also, we're talking about Windows Hello enhanced sign-in security. A lot of times before, we would run into an issue where you would get your password stolen or something would happen like that. Well, with the Windows Hello enhanced security, this is going to allow us to use hardware and software components to isolate and protect user authentication. You might hear this called as ESS as well. We have hardware-backed MDM enrollment. And all this is going to require the hardware to be attested so that you can verify the device. The credentials are private keys of the MDM certificate that use the system itself and not just something that's going to be on a software level. And we have enhanced phishing protection. This has been something that's been around for a long time. However, it is something that keeps getting better and better. All this is going to do is filter out unwanted websites, phishing activities, and this can actually be configurable by the admin, your IT admin and staff. And lastly, protected print mode. What this is going to do is use a driverless point to print feature that's going to use an IPP, Internet Printing Protocol driver or class driver that is built and maintained by Microsoft within Windows. So all really awesome things to make everything run more efficiently and more secure. Next slide. So let's talk about Pluton. This is important because of hybrid work environments and new technology. With the TPM prior, there was multiple channels of communication that attackers could use to exploit some of that information. Basically, what it would do is that since the TPM is a separate chip from the CPU, they can talk back and forth, and attackers can actually exploit that to get the data inside of that. Well, with Pluton, it's going to remove this pathway of communication because it is built directly in the processor. So it can also emulate and use the TPM as well. It plays nice with all other security features, which is a really awesome thing that you don't have to implement and use something else. And what it's going to do is going to allow you to protect credentials, identities, encryption keys, and that rolls up to the Secure Core PC. So all Secure Core PC means is that it's there to thwart attacks at multiple levels of the system, including hardware, firmware, operating system, driver, etc. So think about it as a authentication that goes each step of the way instead of just having one door to get into everything. Next slide. All right, so we'll talk more about the features here. This is another summary of all of the features. And let's deep dive into recall first. Next slide. All right, so as you can see there, what this is going to allow you to do is to search across time to find content that you need. Because of the NPU, this allows you to interact with your system as if you were asking or talking to a relative. Think about you're asking one of your relatives, let's say your aunt, and be like, hey, what was that restaurant we went to 2 months ago? Well, you can actually interact with your system because of the different features that are built into Windows, including GPT-4o and this recall feature. And it'll allow you to say, hey, what restaurant did I have a meeting at 2 months ago? And it will go through and find everything that is related to that so that you can actually search through and see it. Now, the cool thing is that you are able to set and define what websites that you want to exclude. We all know that we may not want autocomplete to happen on our banking information and things like that. So you can exclude that. IT admin everywhere can figure out what they want to use it for and what they don't want to use it for. Also, how much storage you can actually use, because you think about, oh, well, if this is recording everything at all times, it eventually is going to fill up and overrun my system. However, you can set how much hard drive capacity that you want it to take. Next. All right, live captions. This is going to allow you to have real-time captions for audio on your PC. So what this means is that you can translate live or recorded video by turning this feature on, and it will transcribe everything that you might need in a different language or just need a transcription period. So what it does is it translates spoken words into readable text. And this is available in 44 different languages, and there's been talk about having more on the horizon. So this can do a lot of different things. We have seen examples across the board where you have different conversations with different languages, and it translates and it makes it seamless communication between the two. All right, next. And lastly, we have the Windows Studio effects. We all know when COVID happened and we all had to go home. And once we all started using the video chat and video meetings, we would find that everybody wanted to start using different filters and things like that. And what it would do was make some meetings crash or very sluggish because everybody wanted to use the new features and they wanted to have bunny ears and things like that. Well, with Studio Effects, we're taking the onus off of the software and the cloud, and we're allowing it to run directly on the system itself. And so by doing that, you can have these different features on at all times during your meetings and things like that. Things like portrait blur, where you can blur the background, voice focus. What this is going to do is remove background noise. You're at the office next to the Fiesta potluck, and there's a lot of unwanted noise in the background. So this is going to help filter a lot of that out. It'll allow you to have a light blur, so you're always in focus, and maintain eye contact even when you're reading the screen or looking at certain things. It gives you the option to translate your video into different creative elements as well. There's illustrated that transforms your video appearance to an illustrated version, adding an artistic touch. Animated gives you this lively animated effect, and watercolor that gives you that as well. So all of these things require the NPU to be able to run at all times because it is using the NPU for those AI instructions, and that way it offloads the onus on the CPU and GPU itself. So with that said, I'll turn it back over to Callie.
Awesome. Thank you, Nate. Great rundown. Well, team, we're moving through this a little bit quicker than we had planned, so we'll have plenty of time for questions. I've also been answering questions in the chat, so keep them coming. But I do want to wrap up the actual presentation just by, really reiterating the Dell and Microsoft relationship. We've been partnering together for over 35 years now, and it's a beautiful partnership. With hardware, software, zero touch device management with Intune. We've got, services as well to help with Windows 10 migrations or even Copilot workshops. So if you don't really know kind of where to go, especially after this webinar, the good news is reach out to your Dell sales rep or myself or Nate, and we can get you, looped in with the proper folks to really help you kind of drive that conversation, especially if you're interested in adopting really any flavor of Copilot or a Copilot Plus PC, and really what that means for you and your business, and even your customers for that matter. So with that, Jack, I'll pass it over to you and we can answer some questions.
Absolutely, thank you. Yeah, you've been staying pretty on top of it in the chat, which is fantastic. I do see a couple that are in the Q&A portion. So I'll start down at the bottom, and that is, how about the 15-inch and or 16-inch Copilot PCs with Snapdragon? A little broad, but I think people are looking for that sort of size that might have Copilot Plus PCs.
Yeah, well, right now, we don't have any 15 or 16-inch devices that are technically considered Copilot Plus PCs. We really just have the 4 with one launching next week, and they're 13 inches, 14 inches. So just those 2 for now. But the good news is once Lunar Lake and AMD Strix devices come out, we're hopeful that we will have 15-inch devices. I don't have that information yet that I can physically share, but more to come, and we can always do another Copilot Plus PC webinar on the 15-inch model.
Awesome, thank you. The next one in the chat is, or in the Q&A portion, is if you already purchased a Copilot Dell laptop that came with Windows 11 23H2, how do you get 24H2? And does it still qualify as a Copilot laptop?
Awesome. Nate, I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, so in terms of how that's going to work with an update, 24H2 will officially come out shortly. We don't have an exact date quite yet. However, if you are buying a Copilot Plus PC, that does ship with 24H2, and thus will allow you to have the AI quote-unquote bits enabled. If you do not have the NPU in your system, then the operating system will not be able to run the Copilot Plus features themselves. However, you can still use Copilot 365 and Copilot within your web browser.
Awesome. Perfect, Nate. And one thing I'll add to that as well, Brian, is yes, it will still qualify as a Copilot PC or laptop with really 23H2 or 24H2.
Awesome, thank you both. And then Russell had a pretty specific slide question about superscripts. There's a lot of superscripts in the slides, and where to find those references. We will release the slide deck on dtuck.com, but as far as the superscripts, they are all in the slides, right? They're all clickable. Yeah.
They are. And if, Russell, we need to get any additional info out in regards to those, please reach out to Jack or directly to me, and I'll make sure you've got the additional info if anything else is needed.
Thank you. And then Todd, one of our advisory council members, asked, does Recall send telemetry data back to Microsoft, or is it all processed on the device?
All of that data is kept in-house. So if you have any sort of Microsoft security in your environment now, so just a normal day-to-day life within Microsoft, any new Copilot Plus features or Copilot 365 is not going to make that any different. It's going to inherit all of that specific stuff. As an admin, you can detail what information is saved and where it goes, even with the other features of Copilot as well.
Awesome, thank you. And then we've got one more from Robert. Just real quick, thanks for sending in all these questions, guys. This is some great information. So, it seems like Microsoft has made it difficult to turn off or disable Copilot for enterprise customers. Is there any way to better control that just might not be out in the universe, easy for people like Robert to find?
I was just typing a response to that, so that's perfect. So with Copilot, you should be able to toggle that within your personalization settings in your taskbar on a one-to-one type basis. However, you can edit in the group policy to make sure that Copilot is turned off for whatever group of users you need, or everybody if you wanted to. There's a couple of how-to guides on the internet with that as well, and we can find that and send that out to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Nate. Another one from Robert is Recall only supported on systems with an NPU?
Yes. You want to
easy answer.
Elaborate, Nate?
Yeah, sure. So with that said, there are certain features that can be used without the NPU, and that's going to be included in the 365 Copilot. So think about 365 Copilot as the AI feature that is in all of your productivity software or traditional Office programs, if you will.
Yeah, and I will tell you too, Robert, when we're talking, Recall and all of these features we've discussed today with the NPU, it really does have to be a 40 plus TOPS NPU to be able to qualify for these specific Copilot Plus PC features. So hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah, to elaborate on that, there is some stringent testing that goes on with the manufacturer and Microsoft so that it does become a Copilot Plus PC. There may be some PCs in the future that aren't Copilot Plus but have all of the hardware capabilities, and then there'll be an update after that. So just keep an eye out on those things.
Awesome, thank you. And then the next one talks a little bit about, when can we expect some Latitude models with Intel Lunar Lake?
This is a good question. Nate is correct. Yes, they are coming. We're just not able to share the specific dates with any of our customers just yet. But what I can share is that it should be late 2024, early 2025. So still kind of working through some of those details, but the Intel Lunar Lake devices are not far away at all. So great question.
Fantastic. Love to hear that. And believe it or not, we're somehow nearing late 2024 already. I don't know what happened this year, but
I know yesterday it was February.
We blinked.
The next question that came in is, can you talk a little bit more about the zero-touch MDM features of Copilot Plus PCs, and how will it differ from non-Copilot Plus PCs?
So it won't actually differ differently. It's just meaning that it's going to have the extra features in there. It's still going to be just like any other zero-touch MDM system, where it's going to use that certificate as the authentication via the hardware. I hope that answered the question. But
I think it did. It made sense to me. So thank you for that one. And then the last one that I am seeing up here in the Q&A is, how does the translation work if it's not connected to the internet?
so that is where the NPU comes into place. So the NPU works like and it's called a neural processing unit because it is meant to act like the neural pathways in a brain or whatever, if you will. So in the system itself, it's built into the operating system and then utilizes that NPU for all of your AI instructions, including this. Now, generally speaking, it is better if you do have a internet connection, and obviously you'll need that if you are talking to somebody or in a live video chat or something like that. But if you do have a video that is on the system, you should be able to translate all of that into whatever language you need.
Yeah, and I'll add one thing as well, right, to Nate's point, that NPU truly is special in the sense that, right, those devices use its AI and machine learning algorithms, excuse me, say that 10 times fast, that's a tough one, to perform those translations, right? That's why that NPU is so critical when we're talking about a Copilot Plus PC, because that is allowing those PCs to do things that traditional PCs have never been able to do in the past.
Wonderful, thank you. I'm just taking a quick look at the chat, seeing if there's any other questions. We did have Josh ask, oh, it looks like Nate, you were already
Oh,
responding to
sorry.
that one.
Too fast.
Yeah, it's just that anything that's Copilot Plus, and I mentioned that it has to go through a certification process to be deemed a Copilot Plus PC. So anything that has the NPU and is Copilot Plus will be over 40 tops, and that will be published down the line, because a regular system without an NPU only gets about 12 to 15 tops. So that's where it comes into play, especially with the marketing and advertising and things.
Wonderful. So with that, we'll give everybody a minute, but do y'all have any, kind of final thoughts that you want to share with the audience? I love how interactive we've been today. So community, thanks for making me look good on behalf to Callie and Nate. Really appreciate all the engagement. In all our pre-meetings, I was like, listen, we've got a pretty active community that love to ask a lot of questions, so y'all back me up. I really appreciate it. But Callie and Nate, do you have any closing thoughts for the audience?
I mean, that the only thing for me, team, is I would just say if you're curious to learn more about Copilot Plus PCs, Microsoft Learn blogs are a really good place to kind of start and kind of deep dive into it just for some additional information. There was also a direct blog link attached to this webinar invite. So that's also a good place just to click in, and then you can kind of go from there. But our Copilot Plus PCs, that market is going to continue to grow. NPUs are going to continue to get faster. So just keep in mind that these PCs are for specific strategic users, and not every customer is truly going to need a Copilot Plus PC. It's really just based on what they're doing day in and day out. But Nate and I are here to support and help answer any additional questions. So thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you all being here. That's it for me,
Thanks,
Jack.
Callie. Thanks,
You
Nate.
got
It does look like Core snuck in one more question. And that is, to perform the offline translation, does it store all the language translations on the laptop?
As far as I know, yes, but I'm not exactly sure how that is going to work quite yet. What I do know is that it'll be able to utilize that NPU for that purpose. So I would assume that it would have to have at least something on the operating system itself.
Yeah, and we can core look into that a little bit more, because that's a question that hasn't really surfaced yet. So we'll see what additional info we can find.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, Nate, Callie, everybody in the audience, really appreciate your time today. I mean, this has just been absolutely fantastic. I've certainly learned a lot. Oh, it looks like Max is actually getting in one more as I was trying to wrap up, but we've got everybody booked for the full hour, so we're going to use it all. Max is asking, is it not the eventual goal for every PC in the distant future to be a Copilot Plus PC?
Um, in theory, I would say no, only because our customers have to have different levels of hardware for different levels of what your workers are doing. So does everybody need an NPU and the new hardware? No. And just like Callie said, it's kind of a niche product at this moment. However, I guess eventually, just like with any technology, as it becomes more prevalent in the ecosystem, we'll start to see the price come down. We'll start to see more systems available and more accessibility, just like with TVs. 4K TV used to be, $5,000, and now you can seem to get one on the side of the road for free if you want. So it's just all about scale and what customers are going to need. I will say that in looking at some of the early statistics with AI in general, that it took 15 years for the world to have 100 million cell phone users, and it only took 3 months for 100 million users to be using some part of AI. So it is something to be on the forefront of technology, regardless if it's an NPU or just other pieces of it.
Wonderful, thank you. Yeah, you're getting a lot of thanks as well in the chat to the both of you. People like Jason are just super excited to see where this is all going to go. It is super fun being on the forefront of all of this. So I just can't wait to see how it goes. Everybody stay tuned. I put it in the chat, but our survey is in the chat. Pay attention to your emails. We will send out the recording, the deck. It will all be on dtuck.com. So if you are looking for it, it is able to be found in multiple different resources. But we really appreciate everybody being here today. And Nate and Callie, I can't thank you enough for your time. This was fun. This was informative, and I know the community really, really appreciated it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Look forward to working with you again.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, everybody gets about 12 minutes back in their day, so enjoy it. Maybe eat some lunch. I know I forget to do that on some days, but look forward to seeing everybody again in the near future.